Urgent Birds fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest birds news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Eagles! How Eagles' decision to put playmaker on trade block will affect draft plans. Dallas Goedert's future with the Eagles is still uncertain, so tight end is one of the team's biggest needs ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. Goedert, who has 1 year remaining on his contract, has reportedly been involved in trade discussions. Eagles general manager Howie Roseman has been non-committal about Goedert's status when asked this offseason. The Eagles could trade Goedert or bring him back on a restructured deal, but the uncertainty of his future won't impact their draft plans. The way we look at the draft is it's a separate entity to anything else that's going on, Roseman told reporters at the Eagles pre-draft press conference on Tuesday. We got to make good decisions in the draft based on who the players are that are available in the draft. We can't make up any positions and make them better than they're not. We have to really have a true process, so it really doesn't affect us. Goedert's age 30 and injury history makes him expendable, but moving on from a productive tight end could backfire. Philadelphia signed backup tight ends Harrison Bryant and Kylen Granson in free agency, but they would struggle to fill the void. Eagles backup tight end Grant Calcaterra is a solid no.2 option, but he's not going to develop into a full-time starter. The two best tight end prospects in this year's draft, Penn State's Tyler Warren and Michigan's Colston Loveland, won't fall to the Eagles in the first round. Philadelphia would have to reach for LSU's Mason Taylor or Miami FL product Elijah Arroyo if they wanted to take a tight end at no 32. To replace Goedert, the Eagles could draft someone on day 2. Perhaps they would trade up in the second round for Arroyo or Taylor. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Eagles Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Eagles trade idea for Tyreek Hill would be a deal breaker. If you are a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, you work on the assumption that GM Howie Roseman never rests, never quits, isn't done. See, the Super Bowl champion Eagles already feature one of the most physically imposing offenses in the league. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown are a championship-caliber core. What if Philly added Tyreek Hill's unmatched speed to that mix? He's made noise about wanting out of Miami, does it all match up? Hill, 31, is under contract with the Dolphins through 2026, following a $90 million extension signed last August. His deal includes $65 million guaranteed, no small commitment for any team. But the Eagles have navigated worse. With void years, creative restructuring, and Roseman's now signature cap manipulation tactics, Philadelphia could make the numbers work, especially if the front office believes Hill is the missing piece. Alas, there is one major problem here, and it's not about talent or money. Roseman recently announced that an NFL draft prospect with a history of violence against women was a deal breaker. For us, we have some objective things that I can't even overrule, Roseman said, and there, ours, but for one like violence against women, it's just not for us. I won't even watch them. I don't even want to talk about them. It's just a deal breaker for us, so I can't go is really good and did it 10 years ago and he learned from it. It just doesn't work for us. He said this before Hill's latest encounter with police over alleged assault. See below. But it should still count, right? So again, as much as this idea might be grounded in logic, fit, and a proven history of boldness from one of the league's most fearless front offices, Roseman's words about a draft prospect should apply here. The Eagles don't need Tyreek Hill to contend, and the Eagles, based on Roseman's own words, figure to have made that determination without the public even having to ask. Eagles GM Howie Roseman isn't ruling out another day one NFL draft surprise. We've made our minds up. We'd expect nothing less than a first-night draft surprise from Howie Roseman, though it's impossible to keep everything a secret. For instance, we've heard the discussions about Dallas Goedert's expected exit. We also knew of Kellen Moore's defection to the New Orleans Saints weeks before it happened. Make no mistake, though, no one holds their cards closer to the vest than the Philadelphia Eagles. Often, we don't know what they are up to until they announce something. Reading between the lines becomes important. Sometimes players say too much. At other times, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni give us word salads that don't really mean much when one dissects them. Recently, we got lucky. Howie and Nick met with the media 9 days before the 2025 NFL Draft, and the best GM in the business gave us something, sort of. Howie Roseman fuels the rumors that the Eagles may be interested in trading up during round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft. It's not my best quality. Patience. Those words were among Howie's final answer during Philly's recent press conference. A near 30-minute press conference gave us much to discuss this week. Earlier, he added some perspective to a question we have asked all week. Might the Eagles be interested in trading up during round 1? Philadelphia executes more draft trades than anyone. Where does this value in that theory stem from? Howie Roseman on trading up in the NFL Draft. Being aggressive has always been part of my DNA. I feel fortunate that I have people around me that support that. It allows us to take chances. Sports Radio 94 WF Sports Radio Whip You. We've seen Howie maneuver his way around the NFL draft board time and time again. We've seen him trade up to take Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, or Cooper DeJean. We've seen him trade out of round 1 entirely 2018. Picks have even been used as collateral. As recently as 2022, he dealt first and third round selections to the Tennessee Titans to acquire all-world receiver A.J. Brown. Howie's aggressive nature is indeed a part of his DNA. That's a clever way to put it, and we agree. We've said all of that to say this. Though he didn't really answer the question about trading up, we're more than convinced. Though none of us know what he will do, we will almost guarantee he'll do something unscheduled. There's no way he's sitting still at the 32nd selection. Eagles News draft analyst suggests Mason Taylor could be the pick at number 32. Philadelphia Eagles News, and links for 4yon5525. Eagles linked to LSU tight end amid Dallas Goedert trade speculation clutch points. So naturally, when Todd McShay noted to keep an eye on Goedert in the 2025 NFL Draft and suggested the Eagles could pick LSU tight end Mason Taylor at pick 32 on the Mina Kimes show, it turned heads around the fan base for multiple reasons. I do think with the Eagles do keep an eye on the Dallas Goedert situation, McShay noted. I could see Mason Taylor at 32. I think Mason Taylor could be interesting there. BLG note, funny enough, Taylor's scouting report on NFL.com has Goedert listed as the pro comparison. Eagles draft amid Dallas Goedert's uncertain future. TE prospects Mason Taylor and Harold Fannin could intrigue the Birds inquirer Mason Taylor. LSU, when assessing which tight end prospects make the most sense for the Eagles on day 2 of the draft, Taylor's profile stands out for a handful of reasons. The 6'5", 250-pound prospect was a 3-year starter for LSU and is the son of Hall of Fame edge rusher Jason Taylor and the nephew of Hall of Fame linebacker Zach Thomas. Pedigree aside, Mason Taylor has multiple seasons playing at a high level in the Southeastern Conference and won't even turn 21 until just after this month's draft. Taylor's game revolves around a fluid route-running style and an ability to pick up yards after the catch once he gains a head of steam downfield. He's more smooth than explosive, but he managed 55 catches for 546 yards last season as a focal point in LSU's offense. When assessing how he would fare as a direct replacement for Goedert, Taylor is yet another prospect whose blocking leaves something to be desired. Perhaps he'll grow into his frame and make strides in that area, but his college tape does not suggest he'll be a capable inline blocker as a rookie. Eagles 2025 NFL Draft Thoughts: 10 things we learned from the Beast the Athletic 2. An unusually strong TE class is worth consideration. As many as 3 TEs could crack round 1, Brugler writes. Further still, there are no fewer than 4 and perhaps as many as 5 or 6 tight ends that deserve legitimate round 1 consideration. There have only been 5 drafts since 2000 in which multiple tight ends were taken in the first round. 3 tight ends were taken in 2017 and 2002, never 4. Such a statement about this tight end class by Brugler shouldn't go unnoticed, especially given the Eagles' need at the position. The Las Vegas Raiders ought to consider it a steal to have selected Brock Bowers at number 13 overall last year. Bowers was a Pro Bowler and first-team All-Pro selection as a rookie while totaling 112 catches, 1,194 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Penn State's Tyler Warren Brugler's number 8 prospect, like Bowers in 2024, is a top 10 prospect who could also fall into the teens. While Warren and Michigan's Colston Loveland number 11 are likely beyond Philadelphia's range, it's interesting to consider whether Mason Taylor number 33 or Elijah Arroyo number 41 could be a sensible first selection for the Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles. NFL Draft 2025, positional needs cornerback BG and Shavon Revel, ECU, 6'2", 194 pounds, fifth-year senior, 24 years old. Prototypical height for a boundary corner and has extremely long arms which allow him to break up passes that other DBs can't reach. Watch third highlight in the clip below. Could use some more weight on his frame. Eagles mailbag did one amazing. Performance skew the perception of the pass rush. Philly voice question from Ben Butworth. When are you potting again, boss? SB Nation Vox Media killed all their podcasts without warning last April. We Brandon mostly built up a pretty wide listenership, and in an instant it was just gone, with no explanation why, and seemingly no logic behind it. Vox came back to some of their better performing podcasters around the start of last season, wanting to relaunch it but behind a paywall. I had no interest in that. We weren't going to ask people to pay for a podcast when literally every other Eagles podcast is free. Maybe that would work in other markets? We tried to explain that a paywall didn't make sense in Philly, but that seemed to fall on deaf ears. So I don't know. Last year I had an idea for something a little new and different, but ultimately determined that executing it at a high level would require time that I didn't have. I should probably think about a way I can pull off that idea that doesn't wipe out the rare free time and energy I have during the busier parts of the year. So, that's my periodic podcast update. I do appreciate when people ask. They were fun to do. Latest visitors Eagles blitz the Eagles don't tend to value safety in the first round. Go read this piece by Jimmy Bama for his thoughts. So why bring Starks in for a visit? Howie Roseman has admitted in the past that teams will occasionally bring in a player they don't have interest in so that they can throw a curveball to other teams. All 32 teams keep up with who goes where. The more likely possibility in this case is that the Eagles don't see Starks as just a safety. He gives them a player they can move around if needed. If one of the CBs got hurt, they could move Cooper. DeJean outside, and then put Starks in the slot. Eagles pre-draft mailbag part 2. Why Howie Roseman could move up in the first round and the players he could target PHLY. If you're into precognition, what does your local psychic, tarot card reader, crystal ball, or Ouija board say about how the Eagles approach this draft? Ed Helinski. Line of scrimmage. I'll keep going to that well. By the end of Friday, my guess is the Eagles have added 2 players along the lines of scrimmage. Safety and tight end are their biggest needs. I still expect the line of scrimmage to be the priority. I think if the Eagles can land an offensive tackle who has God flexibility, it would be ideal. But at number 32, you don't know how the board will fall. I expect the strength late in the first round to be edge rushers. I still think Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan is the best outcome for the Eagles if he falls to number 32. Edge rusher is a bigger need on the line of scrimmage than defensive tackle. My sense is the Eagles are comfortable with the group they have at defensive tackle, but the value and upside of Nolan would be too appealing to pass. Some potential draft scenarios for the Commanders in round 1. What is your move? Hogs Haven. I always like to view other mock drafts out there and compare them to how I would like to see things play out for the Commanders. It's a futile exercise, but I have fun doing it, and hopefully it can educate our fan base on some prospects you may not be familiar with. Below, I put together a fun, interactive exercise that will hopefully get the comment section flowing. I have given you 4 different draft scenarios with our top pick. I used my own big board, then ran some sims on Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator to come up with what you see below. The simulator was just a tool I used for guidance, so that, combined with what you see in my notes, is how I arrived. At each scenario, Cowboys roster concerned that Trevon Diggs will start the season on the PUP list blogging the boys. We had the chance to get a clearer picture of the situation when we spoke with longtime Cowboys insider Mickey Spagnola, who works deep inside the Star at Frisco. According to Spagnola, the expectation at this point is that Diggs could start training camp on the physically unable to perform PUP list. If that holds true, it means Diggs would miss critical time ramping up in camp, time that's essential for reestablishing chemistry with the defense and getting live reps. More importantly, a stint on PUP during training camp could carry over into the regular season, potentially forcing him to miss games as the Cowboys open their 2025 campaign. While nothing is official yet, Spagnuolo's take underscores that the situation may be trending in a more cautious and possibly more prolonged direction than the team has hoped. Shedeur Sanders to work out for New York Giants one more time. Big Blue View, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders will hold a final workout for the New York Giants on Thursday in Boulder, Colo, per ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. Sanders, who could be the second quarterback selected in the upcoming 2025 NFL Draft, will work out for a contingent of officials from the Giants. The Giants have the number 3 overall pick in the draft, but have been expected to pass on Sanders, if available, in favor of Colorado wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter or Penn State edge defender Abdul Carter. The Giants have paid an extraordinary amount of attention to Sanders since last fall. After signing veteran quarterbacks Russell, Wilson, and Jameis Winston, the Giants don't have an immediate need at the position. Adding a player like Carter or Hunter could be more helpful to them in 2025. NFL draft insider Todd McShay of The Ringer said, "Don't close the book on Shedeur to the Giants at 3 in his most recent podcast." 2025 NFL draft teams that could trade, up-down in round 1 ESPN teams that could trade back into round 1, second-round slots, Nozetter 33 and 34, respectively. The easiest way to approach this situation is to pair these teams together. After all, the Giants and Browns face the same dilemma. Should they take a quarterback early in round 1, November 2 and 3, respectively, or wait until a later round? If either or both pass at the top of round 1, it could lead to Shedeur Sanders and Ole Miss Jackson Dart sliding a little, given the lack of clear QB-needy teams overall. The Raiders, Jets, Saints, Steelers, and Rams could all look at signal callers, but none is forced to make a move at the position. Only the Steelers among that group lack a legitimate current option for 2025, and that could change if they sign Aaron Rodgers. That's all to say, it's not out of the question that Sanders and/or Dart could be on the board later than expected. And if that happens, I think there could be a race to get back into the first round for one of them. The Browns have the first pick of the second round at number 33 and 10 total picks. The Giants are right behind them at number 34 and have 8 selections. 2025 NFL Draft Travis Hunter, Cam Ward among 17 prospects attending this year's event NFL. COM17 prospects have accepted invitations to attend the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which begins at 8 p.m. ET on April 24th. The group includes 3 of the top quarterbacks in this year's class and one of the most fascinating draft prospects in recent memory. Comparing NFL draft prospects to anime characters, SB Nation National Anime Day is on April 15th, and in honor of the third greatest day of the year, the first 2 are my girlfriends. Birthday and Christmas, I figured it's time we return to the land of the 2025 NFL Draft and compare them to exclusively anime characters. Previously, I made comparisons to things that had nothing to do with football, but now we're going to specifically take our comparisons from the world of anime. So charge up your K, and let's do this. And now, Birds fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Eagles Nation news. Fly, Eagles, fly.